What's up, guys? Bailey here. So today in this video, I am making a hypothetical BMF tournament and who would win this tournament, okay? I'm just going to basically be going over kind of each individual fighter, and yeah, that's just how it's going to work. I also want to thank you guys for the interaction on my last video, talking about my top 5 non-title fights of all time. That video got over 1,000 views in just 2-3 days. Sorry for not uploading yesterday, but I'm back today. Let's do this. All right, so first off, we got Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Obviously, I put him in the BMF tournament because it's him. He's beat almost everybody here except for Charles. He's beat Michael Chandler. He's beat Justin Gaethje. He's beat Dan Hooker. He lost to Charles. But yeah, I mean, he beat Max Holloway twice, so he's literally beat everybody here except for Charles. He has 8 knockouts, and he's willing to bang with just about anybody. He's a do-or-die guy, and he took Islam Makhachev to his limit. And I still believe that it was one of his best performances of all time. Like, that was the best Dustin Poirier we will ever see. So, yeah, he's 30-9, and here's just some of his most notable wins, right? I mean, Max Holloway, Alvarez, McGregor, Gaethje, Pettis, Chandler. Just some real bad motherfuckers. All right, next we got Justin the Highlight Gaethje. He beat Dustin and Chandler. He's probably the hardest hitter in this entire tournament, and one hit from him can basically change the whole dynamic of the fight. He's beat Poirier, Chandler, Edson Barbosa, Michael Johnson, and his fight against Michael Johnson was a war, and that almost made my top 5 non-title fights, but it didn't. I don't see him winning this though, just because, to be honest with you, he's probably one of the least well-rounded guys out here. And that might be a hot take. That might be a not so popular opinion. But his striking is good, but his striking isn't great. Like, do I think his boxing is on par with Poirier? I don't. Do I think that his technique is as good as like Max Holloway? I don't. Do I think that he's as clean and crisp as like Bronx Oliveira? I don't. Do I think that he's like as raw and explosive and as powerful in terms of like raw athleticism as like Michael Chandler? I don't. But he does make up for that in just the fact that he just doesn't care. I mean, he fucking just comes in, he gets hit, and he hits you, and that's what happens. So I do think in this tournament, he kind of has everything going against him. Do I think if him and Dustin fought, who do I think would win? I think Dustin would win. Dustin got caught with a head kick, and that was through his guard even. To be honest, it's either him or Michael Chandler that I see getting eliminated first. Next, we got Max Holloway. Yeah, man, the standing point, absolute standout thing from Max Holloway. He's easily the most durable out of everybody here. He's never been knocked down before. The reason why I'm doing the never is because when he fought Gaethje at 300, he did get knocked down, but they didn't count it. Max Holloway knew. We all knew. So yeah, he is the current BMF champ, and he probably has the most decorated resume here. Beat Jose Aldo twice, Korean Zombie, Yair Rodriguez, Frankie Edgar, Ortega, Pettis, Oliveira. I mean, fuck, dude, this guy's about it. But, and I say but, I don't think he would win this either, just because I think his kryptonite is Dustin Poirier. He lost to Poirier twice, and I just don't see Poirier losing to Holloway in a sense, you know what I mean? Now those fights were a while ago, so who knows, something might change. I mean, Holloway looked very crisp against Justin Gaethje, but at the same time, we can only go based off of resumes and what happened in the past to kind of assess and infer what can happen in the future. If Dustin and Max fought 5 times, I think guaranteed Dustin wins 3 or 4. Maybe Max might win 1. That's just the way I view it. That also might be a hot take. I love Max Holloway, but I just don't see Max Holloway taking this thing. Next, we got Dan the Hangman Hooker. He is the future of the BMFs, without a doubt. He has a little bit of everything from everyone. I think he has, the presentation, the blonde hair, wiry build, like Charles Oliveira. He kind of has the stand and bang kind of energy, like, Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier. And his durability is off the fucking charts. If you watch this fight against Jalen Turner, when he got head kicked into next week, he just stood there, like, as if it was, a little flea that just fucking went on his face. And, it was incredible. And he beat him, too. So he beat guys like Gamrod, Gilbert Burns, Felder, and, Jalen Turner. He's 24-12. And he's a dog fighter, man. He's not afraid to get into a dogfight. He was a little bit shaken up after that Dustin loss, but after that fight, I mean, who the fuck wouldn't be, right? But I think he takes dead last in this tournament just because I just don't think he's as skilled. You know what I mean? I think that like Charles would finish him with a submission. I think that Dustin would outbox him like he did the first time. I think that Michael Chandler could pick him up and fucking slam him, you know what I mean, and ground and pound him. And I think that I just think that Max Holloway is gonna do what he did to Gaethje and just put on a striking clinic, and I think Gaethje's just gonna knock him out. So I think that Dan Hooker has a long way to go because he's being compared to absolute top level guys who've been doing this shit for like damn near 20 years. So I mean, Hooker's got a while to go. Next, this is my personal winner. I think Charles Oliveira takes this whole tournament because he's beaten everybody here outside of Dan Hooker. I don't believe those two fought. He has the most finishes in UFC with 20. He's the most well-rounded, I think, out of everybody, and he can beat everybody. He's beat Dustin. He's beat Michael Chandler. He's beat Justin Gaethje. You know what I mean? I mean, he's beat everybody here except for Max Holloway. And even then, I think if they ran that shit again, I think that DuBronx gets him. That's just what I think. I mean, and his resume speaks for itself, right? Poirier, Chandler, Gaethje, Guida, Dariush. I mean, it just speaks for itself, and I think that, DuBronx is kind of the uncrowned BMF. I mean, if you want to talk about BMFs, talk about the BMF slayer of sorts, right? I mean, like, every guy outside of Max Holloway who held the BMF title lost to him. You know what I mean? And within that division. I'm not talking about, like, Nate Diaz or Masvidal, like the higher ones. I'm talking within the lightweights. I mean, yeah, I think this is about as good as it gets outside of, like, Islam. Next, we got Michael Iron Chandler. He's probably the most explosive and athletic, I think, out of everybody here. I think that kind of goes without saying. I mean, just his kicking, his striking, just him shooting for takedowns. It's so explosive and fucking powerful. Like, it's a rhino just, boom, running into a wall. Like, you know what I mean? Just full committed. Balls to the walls, just full-blown fucking action. And he has almost every physical advantage you would really, really want. I mean, he's muscles, dude. He's in shape. He's really, really quick. I mean, you know what I mean? The only one that he doesn't have is height. Dan Hooker has that, and I think a few other guys are taller than him too. I don't think Chandler's that tall. He's spontaneous, which that can be good and bad. I think we all know why. And he's had bangers against everybody here. Yeah, he beat Dan Hooker and he beat Eddie Alvarez. That wasn't in the UFC though. But listen, people want to say that Michael Chandler lost to these guys. Why is he in here? Put someone else in here. Listen, man, he put on some bangers against them. You're telling me, and he took the fight against Oliveira. You don't want to watch a rematch between those two? Go watch the first fight, dude. And if you think their first fight was bad, then fuck you. You know what I'm saying? But I think that Michael Chandler, he obviously doesn't take this. I think DuBronx is. I really have DuBronx taking this entire tournament just because he's beaten everybody. We've seen it. We've lived it. And, yeah, I mean, I just think that DuBronx is the BMF. I mean, you know what I mean? Now, my favorite BMF, I would think, is probably Max Holloway or Dustin Poirier. But yeah, guys, that is it for the hypothetical BMF tournament. This was kind of a different video I made. Let me know in the comments down below, you guys, who you guys would pick to win this tournament. And yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Whenever I make one. Peace out.